Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I have a guest with me today. His name is Andrew, or also known as Mr. Positive. He's a fellow YouTuber on YouTube, and he's come out to talk to us a little bit about drawing. So I'm gonna give him the stage. So just go for it, man.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's up? Yeah, it's the first time I think I've really been on a YouTube stream, so this is pretty cool for me. I know you've been doing it for a while, but
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, it takes a little getting used to, but we'll just get the conversation
yeah,
going. So.
yeah. So yeah, dude, I started making some YouTube videos a little while ago. It's pretty fun. Um my videos have kind of mostly been drawing videos or art videos. Um Mostly, yeah, pretty much all done on MS Paint because I don't really have a good drawing program at
And I
this
mean,
point.
is there any good drawing program that's better than MS Paint?
Well, MS Paint is really good, and I should honestly that is something I've thought about making a video of like all the reasons why MS Paint is the best drawing program. But the main reason that I use it is other than not having a better one or
I think we're
a
getting
different
some.
one, is that I've been it feels like 15 years or something like that. So
Okay.
I've done a lot of MS Paint drawings. So yeah, I don't know. I started making videos to kind of like if anybody's interested in those like I always have been those drawing or illustration videos, kind of time lapse stuff, and I've always drawn and make and painted and things like that. So I thought I'd share my knowledge, with anybody who was interested in that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So basically, the concept that I try to get across, like uh, at least more recently, is that pretty much drawing is a skill, you could say. So something that's learned, not necessarily something that you're born with.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I studied art for a little while in college, and um, yeah, one of the things that I still remember like really clearly, one of like first drawing classes that I had is that like that's what my professor said is that anybody can draw. It's a matter of like training yourself, practicing, so and things like that. But through through a little bit of like formal teaching, you can really improve. So my videos aren't necessarily like formal teaching or anything, but I do give a little bit of tips uh, as far as like like ways you can easily improve uh, your drawing ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess sort of walk us through maybe your process for how you pick out a picture or something.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I like as far as like something that I would draw on my channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of like to choose something that seems relatively difficult to draw for maybe a beginner. So yeah, my videos are mainly for people who are kind of starting to draw or wanting to like get a little bit of tips on some how they can improve. Not necessarily videos for like someone who's been an artist for a really long time, but I try to choose stuff that like I wanted to learn how to draw but never felt like I really could. Because certain like I think anybody who's done a little bit of art or anything like that kind of has their go-to uh picture or subject. So for me, it was always like faces. I would always zoom in just kind of around the face and draw like details and facial features, and that's kind of what I felt like I was good at. But one of the things that the yeah that I learned studying art in college is if you can see something, then you should be able to draw it, and you shouldn't have like there shouldn't necessarily be this barrier or boxing yourself in to certain subject matter. So it was really hard. Like they forced us, you kind of forced us to draw stuff we weren't comfortable with, and after time, like you kind of learn these little tricks and stuff to um, being able to just translate what you see onto paper or the computer if you're drawing. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I just try to choose stuff that seems relatively difficult, but when you break it down into kind of simpler shapes, uh, you can kind of learn to draw it a lot better.
Yeah, and I think one thing you were talking about with the art classes, and I always found that kind of a difficult situation because you'd have people that are making these creations and are trying to put their own passions into it, but then you also have to have some way of grading that. And so
Yeah,
I guess what is your opinion on the sort of quantifying of how good an art piece is?
that's a good question. Yeah. So um, I think a good way to kind of look at it is like if you took a weight training class or some sort of physical phys ed class, yeah, back in school. Like it wasn't necessarily there wasn't like this like 300 pounds. That's where you have to get to no matter where you
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
It was kind of like your growth. So there wasn't necessarily this outright like you're a good artist, so you should be doing this. It wasn't necessarily obvious, but the professors definitely seemed aware of, and everybody else in the class, that you would kind of seem aware of a person's abilities, and it kind of varied. You know, I always kind of saw myself in the middle of the class as far as like how good the artwork was, and a lot of that is like um, rendering, which is just being able to make something look realistic.
mm,
Uh, kind of can't think of the right exact word, but like certain people were just really, really good at putting together a picture
maybe
that was like
perspective.
photo real. Yeah,
Mm,
photorealism. Yeah.
okay.
So certain people were just, and you could tell, wow, that that looks like exactly like a picture almost,
Yeah, yeah.
like the way they get the exact shapes and stuff. And then certain people you could tell weren't that wasn't their strong suit, but after turning in three assignments or four assignments, you kind of get to know everybody's work in the class, and so you kind of know what to expect. And it's more about growth and yeah, starting point and end point for each individual. There wasn't necessarily this bar that everybody had to meet. So grading was a lot to do with just getting the assignments in and meeting because the assignments were kind of laid out like it needs to be this type of picture with these qualities, and you had to meet those kind of standards that give you kind of guidelines for your work. But yeah, that was something that I had to get really used to is trying to criticize other people's work because it was kind of like this forced participation where you had to during after you turn in the assignment you do a critique, and you just go around everybody's painting or whatever and talk about it and say something you like, say something that they could improve on. And I mean it was really helpful as far as getting over being self-conscious about your work. That's for sure. Like I think everybody's you put a lot of time into something and then you show it to an entire class. There's a little bit of it's a little nerve-wracking at first, but you get used to it after a while.
Do you
And if
think
you
you
want to
get
be in,
do you
sorry?
think you get that same kind of feeling when you're posting one of your videos up on YouTube? Do you?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And the criticism can be a lot harsher
Oh yeah,
online.
yeah. People
And
don't.
a lot of it it's just whatever. Like you're putting a video out there that 99% of the people probably aren't necessarily looking for that. Well, I don't know about the numbers, but
Yeah,
most
yeah,
people aren't probably looking for your video necessarily unless you have a really specific type. So I think both of us were kind of doing like kind of a channel rather than just individual videos.
yeah,
Does that
yeah.
make sense? Like, so if you like one of my videos, you maybe you'll like another one of my videos. So, because they're kind of is a similar theme,
Trying to
and this is
keep
the
in the
same thing
same
for your
vein.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think that's it's an interesting parallel with previous life and what you're doing now. I guess is any random maybe stories you can say of when you had maybe struggled with an art project or something you had to overcome?
Oh, I mean, college the whole time was was a struggle. It seemed like, but yeah. I don't know. I think just deadlines. It makes it really hard
Mm.
because
You can't rush art.
it for yeah for it's really hard to be rushed. Although like I mean you need deadlines otherwise you could
Yeah.
spend forever on a project because there's I mean with any type of art it seems like everybody struggles with where do you finish? When is this thing finally done? Whether it be music or visual arts. So um deadlines are important, but it definitely they're a little bit shorter than maybe real life deadlines. I like, yeah, deadlines make it make it kind of stressful, but you're forced to put something out there, and that's also like everybody kind of understands when you only have like a week or a couple of days to work on a finished art piece. Everybody kind of is in the same boat and knows that this isn't necessarily something that you'd uh, kind of finish with. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what later on in school you have more a lot more time to work on projects when you kind of work for
Hmm.
your final presentation or art show or whatever your senior show. So
I think that's something that kind of resonates into pretty much any project. Just being able to visualize those that visualize some sort of progress, especially if it's a long-term project.
hmm
Because I think that a lot of people tend to get this maybe discouraged by the fact that like something's taking a really long time, and it's kind of hard to see there if there isn't like an immediate big leap, then it's hard to see what exactly is um, being accomplished.
yeah, and it's that's why it's really good to have somebody to bounce ideas off of or kind of check your work as you go.
Hmm.
And so I've got a couple of people that I kind of talk to about making videos or even like art projects on my own. But yeah, there's some people who are always kind of asking, hey, are you working on anything? Or I have this kind of idea for you and stuff like that. So that can be really helpful because I don't know, you need some external sources every once in a while.
Yeah, and I think it's good to kind of like recharge socially, because I can speak from experience that when it seems like you're making something that no one is gonna end up seeing, it's kind of disheartening. But then every once in a while, it's nice to have someone that's just like, oh yeah, I saw that you were working on something or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's so cool about putting something up on YouTube is that like it has the potential for a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people to see it. So when I'm making my videos, it's usually the thought is, okay, like whatever, not too many people are going to see this, but potentially,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot
You
of
never
people
know.
could see it. So you never know. It's always kind of cool. It's like a little bit of definitely a little bit of excitement there uploading a video now. It's really fun.
Yeah. So I guess is there any final things you want to mention before we move on to any other sections?
Not really. That was pretty good talk, I'd say. Yeah, I think we talked about everything I wanted to talk about for sure.
Okay, and if you guys watching have any questions, you can either leave those in the chat while it's live here, or you can leave them in the comments, and I'm sure me and Andrew will be in touch. But for now, we're gonna move on. So I'm gonna save out this. Have you seen the little sketch I was working on when?
I just started to look at it now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it
Oh
ended
my
up being
gosh.
you, but I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's the exact hat that I wear when I paint.
Oh yeah, yeah. You just got
Yeah,
like a pilgrim kind of Abraham Lincoln hat going
that's
on.
my go-to hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna save this
That's
off, and
sweet.
then we can.
You know what? I like that. I don't actually like painting on an easel. I have one, but I like to sit down when I paint
Oh yeah.
for whatever reason. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I really like about MS Paint because because I'll draw comics and stuff in my free time, and when I mess up on something in real life, I find myself trying to find the undo button, and it's never there.
Yeah, yeah. No, when I'm doing paint, I have my left hand on Control Z the entire
Oh
time, pretty
yeah, yeah.
much.
I have a because like my style for the comics, I always kind of sketch it and then go in and clean it up. But the cleaning up is a lot of like erasing in circles and stuff, and I always
Yeah.
go too far. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta undo that. But then it doesn't work in real life, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna transition over to the stock market because that's a tradition we have with the guests coming on the stream. So I'm gonna switch the screen over. And so if you have this stream up, you'll be able to see this with a little bit of a delay, but I'm gonna try to explain what's going on here. So for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen this section before, basically we have a little fake stock market competition going on, and so everybody that has been on my stream since the beginning of the stock market competition is up here in this Excel sheet. So I'm gonna add you. I'm gonna put Mr. Positive in because I think I think I actually have another friend named Andrew that might be coming on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, that's might be joining the stock market. So just in case, we're gonna say Mr. Positive, and so what we're going with is that everybody starts with 100,000 of the currency that we were deeming to be Jonos. So let me just get that set up, and then I'll start reading off the stock prices. So as of right now, we have four stock in the market. There is red, yellow, green, and blue. And these stock are currently at a value of red being at 144, yellow at 191, green at 207, and blue at 346. So just to give you an idea of the trends, um, as I was mentioning a little bit before the stream, we've had some significant inflation over the course of the market being active. So you can, if you're watching the stream, you can see the trend lines are all pretty uh, positive in their slope, but blue has been pretty much going crazy up towards an all-time high that it's currently at, and then green and yellow have been pretty on par with the trend of the market, whereas red has stayed somewhat even with its starting value, although bouncing around a little bit here and there. So I guess does anything catch your attention in terms of what you want to buy in for?
Well, okay. So blue looks like blue looks tempting, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but it is pricier. As of right now, it's 346 compared to a red, which would be
okay, yeah, that's
a
a good
possible
point.
bargain. So
I didn't think about that.
yeah,
But it is consistently on an upward trend. So,
yeah, yeah,
um, wait, can you keep the graph up
yeah. I
there?
just switched it back, so in a few
Oh,
seconds you
sorry.
should be able to see it.
Yeah, I'm a few seconds delayed. So I think I have the an idea of how I want to split up all my funds, all my capital.
Okay, so
Um,
I do have a calculator if you want to get any specific numbers of how much you could buy with a certain amount. So
I was thinking of just I was thinking I was just gonna divvy it up, kind of say like 50% into this and
oh yeah, yeah,
25,
you
yeah,
can do that.
something like that.
And
So,
you can keep money in the bank if you want to, but and so the way this works is if you ever want to buy or sell past this point, you can just let me know and I'll change it. But if you just want to hold true to your investments, you can also see where it takes you.
okay. So, Yeah, blue looks I have to put something in blue. So I think I'm gonna put 10% into blue
So
just to
you're
have
gonna
I wanna have,
10,000
you know,
divided by
I wanna
346.
have some money in the game on the blue end because that just seems like
Um,
a
that
safe bet.
that will get you 28, or you could round it up. It's a 28.9, so you could get 29 with
Yeah,
10,000.
I'll take 29.
29 blue. All
Yeah,
right.
give me 29. Um, and then okay, I'm waiting for the graph to come back up
Oh yeah, yeah. Hold on.
because that's what I'm basing all my decisions
It's all
off
good.
of.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and keep track of this, and then we'll take the money that you have left over and have that in your balance. So,
Okay.
all right. So it should be popping up soon.
Okay. Okay, so I think I want to put 50% of my entire funds into green.
Okay, that is a good choice. I know a lot of people that vote for green on
Well, it looks like a
the
good choice
updates.
based on the graph.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's
it's been pretty consistent in its upward trend. It's somewhat followed the market, but yeah, it's been a pretty good choice. So, you said 50% you're gonna put
yeah,
on green.
50%. Yeah,
So
I'm kind of
50,000 divided by
putting 50% of my eggs in that basket.
it was 207. So that can give you 241.5. Is that? Do you want to round up or down, or do you want to?
Let's go to let's round down there.
Okay, so you're gonna go
Yeah.
241.
Yep.
All right, so 241. Um, all right, and that leaves you with about a little over 40,000 left over to spend if you want to spend it.
Okay, I do want to spend 25% more
All right.
on it was one of the bottom ones.
Red
Not
is currently the least valued stock. Um, it has been bouncing around a lot. So
Wait, actually, you know what? I want to put the rest of my funds in red because I kind of believe in underdogs a little bit, and I think
okay,
that one's bound for an upward trend sometime soon, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's actually interesting is that I recently put a significant amount in red, and also my friend Dan, who just joined the market last weekend, put his allegiance into red. So I think that with enough people uh, putting their investments in there, you should see a positive trend in the near
Yeah.
future. So.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's kind of what I thought.
So
That's kind of what I
you said
thought.
25%?
The rest of my
Oh,
funds,
just the rest.
whatever I
Okay.
got, everything
So
that I've got left, yeah.
let me do some math here. You got you've spent 59,921. So 100,000 minus that's only 10,000 minus 59,921. So you have 40,079 to spend, and you're gonna spend that as much as you can on red, which I believe was at 144. So divide that by 144, and that would be 278 red stock. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds really good.
All right. So I'm
I mean, it
gonna
was cheap,
pop
right?
a. Oh yeah, yeah. So
Like
you
I got a good deal on it, right?
yeah, compared to you got more of that with less money than you did of green. So
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
if red were to go up by a certain amount, you would be gaining more assets from that. So that should leave you with, I believe it is 47 Jonos left over in your bank. So if I type 47 incorrectly, it should even out to 100,000. And we will be seeing how these investments turn out in the near future. So the way this works for anybody watching is that every Thursday I do an update video of the stock market, and the prices fluctuate based off of a poll that is up in the top right corner where there's the little eye icon of those update videos from the previous week. So what I'll do is, if you're watching this after the live stream, I'll put a little link up in the corner that will pop out, and you can click on that to go to the video you can vote on to help out with the fluctuation. So you can see where his allegiances lie in substantially in red and green, but there's a little bit in blue. And then you can see where the rest of the market stands, and you can make your vote based off of those factors. So that's pretty much all we have for the stock market, and so I'm excited to see where your investments take you. And we will be switching over to our final section, which is the out of your element section. So I'm gonna clean up the paint screen because I didn't do that earlier. And so this is something that I do on the channel whenever I have a guest on the stream. I just like to keep people on their toes and kind of see where just kind of get you out of your comfort zone a little bit maybe, but still originally this section was to just ask a question that was something that was completely out of your field of expertise, but then I realized that nobody knows how to answer those questions because they're not an expert on those questions. So
That makes
recently
sense.
I've been trying to push it more towards like something that I know you probably can do, but is also not necessarily something you would normally do. So um, what I have decided on for the question is I want you to describe what love is using only analogies, so metaphors and similes, to MS Paint tools.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a pretty good one. So I'm gonna have to think just for just a
Take
second
your time.
here because it's actually not something that I've necessarily thought about yet. What is love like? Okay, so probably honestly one of my favorite tools on MS Paint is the Dipper tool, the little tool that you can
The
sample colors from.
the little like turkey baster looking one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think love is like the turkey baster because it transfers itself from okay, I actually want to change my answer because I don't know how I'm gonna make that one work. That actually isn't really like love. That's kind of like infection because it kind of but love is kind of like an infection though, right?
Oh yeah, it's a
Love can
it's a
be
terminal illness, isn't it?
okay. Okay, so maybe love is the selector tool because you know what? You can select the whole MS Paint background with that. And you know what? I don't want to change my answer on that one too because that's not really working. This is a tough question.
Oh yeah, no, I like to
This
I
is
like to
I'm
make
definitely out
sure.
of my element here.
Yeah,
I'm definitely
yeah.
um let's see. Wow, love is almost indescribable to me.
Is
Um
there perhaps something in MS Paint that is indescribable?
I mean, to me not really because I've used MS Paint so much, but to some well, I don't know. Uh okay, I just need to think. Can you give me a tip here?
Um,
Maybe you thought of an answer.
no, I don't. I was just curious to see what you were gonna come up with.
That is good.
I guess maybe kind of like just imagine like approaching the girl or boy or person of your dreams, and what MS Paint tools would
Actually,
really.
I made a. Sorry, you cut out right there.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Just what you think would describe the feelings or the aura of that moment in.
Well, it'd definitely be a lot of colors, probably. Probably because like I don't know, like love can be it can bring a lot of happiness, but on the other end of the spectrum, like it can bring sadness too. So I guess when I think of happiness and sadness, maybe I think of like blue colors and darker colors. But then on the happiness spectrum, I would say like yellow and orange. Green is even pretty happy. But you know what I'm saying? Like I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if
It's
for love, it's like, as happy as it can make you, you're equally invested uh to feeling sad depending on the situation.
it's kind of
So
like
it's kind
a
of a
vulnerability, I guess.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword because well, no, it's not a double-edged sword because that doesn't work either. It is yeah, it's kind of a risk, you know? It's definitely a risk, right? That's
Yeah.
true.
So maybe
That's
maybe
definitely the
is
same.
there an MS Paint tool that's a risk to use?
Hmm. An MS Paint tool that's a risk to use. Well, the eraser is really, really risky to use sometimes, but you can't erase love. Like, once you've loved, that's with you forever. So that doesn't apply necessarily. You've got a pretty good picture going on here,
Oh
though.
yeah, yeah. No, I like to get an interpretive drawing of the conversation. Uh,
I hadn't looked at it yet because I didn't want to try to influence, but yeah, this is pretty good. Actually, it helps to be able to see the MS Paint tools.
yeah. Well, I know I can't show you the pop-up menus for some reason. The screen capture doesn't take them, but
Oh, okay.
I know you got like your marker tools, crayons, spray paint. You got the dropper, the text editor. You got some shapes. Um,
I think I have my answer, dude.
all right.
And this is why it's been so hard to find an answer for this question. Is because the question was which individual tool reminds you of love, but the answer that I would have is that if you love somebody and really care about them, then you get all the MS Paint tools.
Oh, that's
Because
beautiful.
if you're invested in that person, you get the whole package, you know? You
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
good tools and you get the bad tools. Boom. Hey, that's a pretty good answer.
yeah.
I,
I gotta say
I
that's some
wow.
quality. I'm just trying
Wow.
to add in some of that knowledge. Um,
Yeah, you have
just
to use every MS Paint tool
um,
to make this drawing, which is not
I'm
that many,
I'm
so
going
it
through
should
them.
be
So
pretty.
yeah,
That's part of
and
the reason why I like MS Paint too, is because it's just really simple.
yeah, yeah. It's
Not
hard
a
to
whole
go
lot to do.
wrong with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that in making comics and different pictures, I will say that the slight pixel adjustment on a micro scale. I know a lot of your pictures tend to be something where you will blend certain things
Yeah.
together and kind of add colors, but in terms of like a cartoon kind of drawing, it does get a little annoying when you draw something and then it slightly adjusts all the pixels around it.
I know what you
Um,
mean. Yeah. Yeah, and after editing some of the drawing videos that I do, it has this is it like slightly different look to it
yeah,
after the video's done. And for mine, like you said, you wouldn't necessarily notice it unless you had done the drawing. But for cartoons and really kind of fine, plain shapes and stuff like that, you wouldn't want that at all. Cartoon. I don't know what your cartoons necessarily look like, but
Um, I don't know. I'll have to. I'll send you a link to them. I think you might
yeah.
get a kick out of them. It's actually kind of like a little superhero comic that I've
Oh,
been drawing.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I think we got a finished picture. Is there anything you think that is needed to be added to this? I know you're a couple seconds behind on the video, but
No, it looks pretty good. I see that a nice. I like the contrast, the red and blue,
yeah, I was trying to make
orange,
sure I
and it's
wasn't
good.
using too much of one color, but
Yeah, no, it looks amazing. It's like a definitely a modern art piece.
yeah, and in the true essence of love, this happy, somewhat crying smiley face in the background has been covered up by other emotions. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, sometimes, yeah, love has layers to it. So sometimes the good
it's like
memories
an
outweigh the
odor.
bad.
But all right, well, I think this was a great discussion we've had. But I guess for before we sign off, I should mention me and Mr. Positive here have been talking about doing a collaboration, and we were talking about sort of a like a telephone of MS Paint pictures. So I'm sure you'll be seeing some more of that in the weeks to come. But the way it's going to work is, I believe you said that you were going to do the first picture, and then to start us off, and then we'll just kind of go
Yeah.
back and forth every week from there. And I'm not sure how long it'll go on, but
And
we'll see.
did we decide like the initial idea?
Hmm?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I guess
Um,
do you wanna brainstorm that right now? We could probably.
yeah, I don't know. What could be, do you want to do like a we could do like a landscape drawing or something because that has lots of different sections to it. So we could
Okay.
kind of build the sections together. Kind of like this background that I made
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for the stream. Like someone could do the front layer and then you could kind of build it up
So you're saying
to by
we'd
sections.
be taking turns adding something to one picture. No,
I
that sounds
misunderstood.
perfect. Yeah, no, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing to make a picture together. That's how I interpreted that. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I think that might have been the original idea, and then I got a little sidetracked.
I
Uh,
gotcha.
yeah, yeah. So that's what you guys can look forward to. But for now, thank you for coming on, man. It's been
Yeah.
an honor having you on the stream, and I look forward to the projects in the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's gonna be a fun time. Yeah, let me
any
know.
final remarks you want to make before we sign off?
Not really, just thanks for letting me come on. This was fun. I'll come on again sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that I'm better at it, this is my first time streaming.
Yeah, me
Honestly,
too.
I was kind of nervous. I'm still kind of nervous, but more you do it, more you get better at it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely after a year it gets a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for everyone that's watching and watching later on. And I will be seeing you next week.
Sweet.